Kastuba Das here with the big announcement for Wisdom of the Sages listeners. This August will be Ashram Month at the Super Soul Farm. Simple ashram living, rising early, morning kirtan, yoga and pranayama, healthy vegan and vegetarian meals, farm seva and being immersed in nature, and then gathering in the evenings for kirtan and readings. Plus, each week we'll have a lead presenter teaching a different facet of the philosophy and lifestyle of Bhakti Yoga. Week number 1 will be the exceptional Bhakti Lata teaching a course called The Beauty of Bhakti, bringing the culture of love and devotion into our lives. Week number 2 is my brother from another mother, Raghunath, teaching Falling in Love with Divinity, the Bhakti Yogi's method for opening the heart. And week number 3 is myself with a course called Following the Path, examining the history and teachings of Bhakti Yoga. You can come for 1, 2, or all 3 weeks, and the pricing is by donation. For more dates and information, go to wisdomofthesages.com/events. Peace.
Live from Laguna Beach,
California.
Laguna Beach, California. This is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to sunny California. It really is always sunny here.
Most of the time,
It ever rains. It's like the same temperature every day, which is good when you're planning stuff. You know what I mean? Mara, you're planning a wedding, catering a wedding. Do we have a rain plan? You don't need a rain plan here. It's the same. You don't. Any idiot like myself could be a weatherman here. I could be like the most cutting edge weatherman.
It's sunny today, around 75 degrees.
Again. Yes, exactly.
Okay, Rogan, let's not go too far off on that squirrel, okay? I'm going to pull you in.
Squirrel.
Right here. I'm going to pull you in right away, okay? You don't mind. Good
I
to see you this
re-listened to
morning,
yesterday's Charles Manson intro yesterday.
Oh, you were talking about Charles Manson. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Let's not go there again. You see,
let's skip
we
that.
don't
Let's skip that. I almost went right there again.
Mara, do we have any announcements today?
We do have some announcements for Back to Recovery groups meetings today. The men meet at 1:00 and the women meet at 2:00.
Back to recovery.
Keep them separated.
At least one day a week.
Yeah, I also got word from Vivi that pre-registration for the Wisdom of the Sages Italy retreat in 2023 is open.
Look at that.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if you go to wisdomofthesages.com and go to the events page, you can find the information, and that's June 27th through July 4th, 2023.
So that's almost a year from now.
What are we doing here? Let's go to there now.
We just were there. Raghunath. Be here now, Raghunath, okay? We're running off here and there in your mind.
I am here. I'm very, very present.
Okay.
So
Also,
I had daddy, huh?
I was going to say today is our 800th episode.
Oh yeah, today's number 800.
Oh,
Get out.
yeah.
We didn't do anything special. Maybe something special will just happen.
Happy 800.
Happy
I had
800,
big
Rogan.
plans for 800 because you know what? I missed 700. And I was like, don't worry, for 800, I'm going to make something crazy. I have nothing. I have
You
nothing.
got nothing.
I was weird. You know what? Maybe we should do like 805, Krishna Miracle Day.
808.
Hmm?
Maybe if you can come up with some good. Let's see. Krishna may reign. There may be a miracle. There may be a Krishna miracle during the show today. Could happen. Something related to 8.
It's pretty impressive. 800 episodes.
Don't rest on your laurels here. Raghunath.
What is a laurel?
I don't even know.
I always picture some like Egyptian cat resting on my laurels.
Okay.
Google the origin of that, Mara. Resting on your laurels.
It's those leaf crowns.
Mm.
What?
I don't know. It's a tree. We're getting different things. I think we're gonna have to have Mara look that up. Raghunath, why don't we move on to the nugget? We have an excellent nugget today.
We could do 801 because the opposite of that is 108.
Well, then we got to come up with something by tomorrow, and I don't think you're gonna pull that off.
Quite creative. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go in with our nugget.
Yeah, let's go into that.
Stuba sent me this nugget this morning, Mara.
Yeah.
It's it looks like he's been studying the works of Dr. Thema.
Honestly, I
who
don't
runs
know.
Let me finish. Runs a course called Mastering the Law of Attraction.
Okay.
Would you say this is one of your mentors?
I don't know anything about Dr. Thema.
Okay, well, let's hear.
But I'll say this. You know, For all
Check
I know,
this
she's a
out.
wonderful person that has a lot of great stuff to share. For all I know, she's a total fraud. I don't know anything about Dr.
What's
Thema.
happening here? I'm getting a ghee lamp handed to me.
Nice. Straight from Mangalarti.
This is wonderful. This is best.
Now,
That's-
I was saying, would you want to share something about that? Go ahead.
Yeah, Dr. Thema, you ready?
Dr. Thema, I don't know anything about her, but I do know that there is an ancient Indian proverb that says, like a wise person, they should be able to, and I don't say this in any way to discredit Dr. Thema in any way, but like a wise person can find gold even in a filthy place, right? Like even if Dr. Thema was a terrible person, I don't believe that she is at all. I'm just saying.
By the way, Dr. Thema may be a man.
No, it's a she. That much I know.
You follow her, don't you?
Okay,
Go on.
Okay. All I'm saying is whether Dr. Thema is we can find wisdom. Truth is truth. Doesn't matter who's saying.
There
it,
you go. Thank you.
right? Okay. So
Doesn't matter if you're.
I think
you
Dr.
purchased if you purchased the e-course, Mastering the Law of Attraction.
I haven't done that. I swear to you, I'm in front of my deities right now. Okay.
Okay. Here's what she said. I like it also. Heal so that you can hear what is being said without the filter of your wounds.
And there you go. And you know what, Raghunath? Why don't you read that one more time before we get deeper into it?
Heal so that you can hear what is being said without the filter of your wounds.
Okay.
Sometimes you say something to someone very positive and they're like, what do you mean by that? You ever
That does happen. Yes.
It happens all the time. They just like, whatever you say, they're looking for it to be offensive. They're looking to be offended. Ever meet people like that?
Well, the word
just wanna be
nowadays
offended?
is triggered also, right? I mean, there's offended.
By the way,
That's
that
one thing.
triggered me. That
I know.
triggered me. It sounds like you're
Well,
talking
you just triggered
about
me. You triggered me.
You're triggering me. You triggered me first.
We got caught in a Fibonacci trigger. Right there. It could go on forever. But I get it that language is important. The way the words that we use and all that is important. But it's kind of like we're at a place right now where we're hypersensitive about the language that's being used, and we're not trying to find the truth that's in it, right? Not giving people the benefit of the doubt that, hey,
that's the word.
Let me hear what
that's
you
the
have
phrase.
to. Yeah, let me hear what you have to say, and it may come because we do have wounds, So I liked what Dr. Thema was saying here, right? Heal not just so that you can enjoy material life more. Heal so that you can hear better, so that you can understand better, because that's what a human being is meant to do. We're meant to take in knowledge and take in wisdom and find out what life is all about. So heal so that you can hear what is being said without the filter of your wounds, right?
I think when something triggers me,
Yeah,
that's a sign like that's something I got to work on.
maybe.
This is something in me that I have to work on.
Well, I mean, that's a whole interesting thing too, Raghunath. I mean, there was another nugget that I was thinking about getting into today, but more or less the message was that we tend to react when we feel someone is coming at us with something. We may feel triggered, we may feel insulted, we may feel, even it may be like a real attack, against us, right?
Sure.
Like someone may be criticizing us. Let's just say we're being criticized.
Right.
What if when someone criticizes us, we thought about how it may, and I don't mean this like in a judgmental way, but in other words, like, let's say someone's attacking us in some way, and rather than reacting as if they're questioning my value, right? Rather than that, we said this has something to do with their own internal kind of thing that they're struggling with.
Sure.
Let me, and if we can think that way, not in a condescending way, but if we can't think that way, then we don't react to it at all. In other words, our own mind doesn't get overcome with anger, with insecurity, with whatever it might be. It's kind of like the way the yogi's mind has to be, right? It doesn't mean that we're not capable of hearing constructive criticism, but it means that we're not being triggered or angered or whatever by all that the world is going to, we're going to work with people in the world, and we're going to be in families with people in the world, and a lot's coming at us, and everybody's struggling with their own issues. So
the world, we do a lot of coddling. in this world nowadays too.
Coddling, yes.
Coddling. And it's sort of like, I feel like our generation was less coddled. You know, as far as triggering goes, like everybody's been, people have been triggering my whole life. I've been yelled at by everybody you could think of, picked on by everybody you could think. My whole childhood was like yelled at by neighbors, screamed at by people I don't know.
Well, what were you doing to the neighbors?
It's just like
that one may have been on you. Okay.
Well, I think our generation, I remember when the guys in the supermarkets or the department stores could just yell at you. They could just get off that bicycle. Or, you know.
So, okay, now we're getting so
now, you know, even someone else's parent can chastise you.
Here's the nugget I was looking for. Okay, we're gonna.
Okay,
if you're willing to look at another person's behavior toward you as a reflection of the state of their relationship with themselves, rather than a statement about your value as a person, then you will, over a period of time, cease to react at all.
read that again.
Okay, I'm gonna read that again.
It's 5 a.m. here, and I see
Okay.
11:45 talking to Tukaram last night.
If you are willing to look at another person's behavior towards you as a reflection of their state of their relationship with themselves, rather than a statement about your value as a person, okay, then you will, over a period of time, cease to react at all.
Sure.
Sure.
No. Sure. That's wisdom. You understand, like, these people are just angry. Or these people are fearful, or these people are, right?
Yeah, it could be so many things. And so, yeah, a wiser person is kind of like, that stuff's rolling right off the back, right? Like the duck, water off the back of the duck.
It's a lot. I like the statement, you can't hurt me. You can't hurt me unless I allow you to.
I feel triggered. I feel triggered by you.
Feel triggered by that? See, stop it. That's because you've been coddled by your wife. Your wife just coddles you too much. You have to live out here alone like me, just the stoic, taking the abuse, strong.
No. And again, you know, there is a balance. In other words, some criticism is valid, some criticism is necessary. Sometimes there are serious issues that need to be dealt with. But fact is, we're walking around. Our society is a mess right now. We don't know how to communicate with each other. We're less interested in truth, and we're hyper concerned with all kinds of other things. We have, and you know, again, the one panacea. Just really learn to relate to people on the spiritual level. We need spiritual knowledge, right?
I like that.
It's the only way out.
Let's take it back. Take it to the soul.
Yeah,
see everybody is. I like that. Take it to the soul, Mara.
Take it to the soul. New record by Raghunath. This is Raghunath. Raghunath goes in a new direction. He's putting out like an R&B record. It's called "Take It to the Soul." Raghunath. He's got like a turtleneck on with some like gold chains, and he's like, yeah. Some gold glasses.
Squirrel.
Okay.
Squirrel Prabhu.
Good point. Let's get into the Bhagavatam. You ready?
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiriyat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttamatta shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master is opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Mara, a resident folk member.
What are you talking about?
I'm joking. Me and Tukaram were joking how in the old days, if someone wasn't serious about spiritual life, you gave them this very nice name. But they're sort of like, they come around to a
Friends of Lord Krishna.
They call him a folk member, a friend of Lord. They're quite a devotee, you know.
Not really like the rest of us.
Mara, she
so,
doesn't
yeah.
have a sari on. She's a friend of Lord Krishna. It was like such a backhanded compliment. And if they were really in Maya, but still showing up at the temple occasionally, you called them a
Fringy.
fringy. That was a full-on pejorative. Yeah.
And if you were coming, but you stopped coming around, it was said that you had
blooped. You blooped.
Okay.
So in Krishna consciousness 2.0, nobody can bloop because we're all sort of dented cans. It's
Okay.
we all accept ourselves as blooped.
We're all blooped.
We're all blooped. We're all fringies. We're all friends of Lord Krishna.
Okay.
Okay, Mara, our resident folk member. When I
Reading
get mad
from-
at you next time, Kostu, I'm going to call you a folk member.
Go right ahead, Raghunath. Because if you do that, Raghunath, I will view it as a reflection of your state of your relationship with yourself rather than a statement about my value as a person. And I'll cease to react.
You're so trigger free. Good for
See
you.
that? You see that?
You're so microaggression free. I'm going to throw thousands of microaggressions at you today and see if it
Okay.
affects you.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe just why don't you just throw one major one and we'll get it over with. All right.
A macroaggression.
Macro. Throw a
I'm
macro
going
one.
to punch you in the gut. Okay.
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 23, Text 15.
Text 15. Okay.
All right. How was your Odyssey yesterday, by the way?
Uneventful, very hot. It's you're just dying for squirrel, aren't you?
Squirrel hunter, Raghunath.
It's hot in New York City, Raghunath. It's like now the heat is deep within the apartment buildings, you know.
Oh, I hate that when the
And once that happens, even if it's cool outside, it's burning hot in the apartment.
Kastuba, he is like a real Tiagi too. He's got no
Oh, yeah.
AC in that apartment.
No AC. I don't do that, Raghunath. I'm against it.
I know. It's last time I slept over there, I was like, oh, Kastuba. I'm like, you ever wake up when there's like no saliva in your mouth? I'm like dust is coming out. Kastuba, please. All right, Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's do this.
Text 15, Raghunath. So
What's the
Ritu,
chapter?
this is the coolest stuff now. Chapter 23. Which canto? Do you know which canto we're?
I'm chapter 23.
Yeah. So you're going to like this, Raghunath. Maharaj Prithu is now, he's going to yogically dismantle the elements of his body and return them to the greater elements of the universe.
23. After observing this brave act
Oh,
performed
the 23. We're 15.
Oh.
Chapter 23, Text
Chapter
15.
23.
Oh. In this way, Prithu Maharaj gradually raised his life air up to the whole of his skull. Maybe we should
That's the
talk about the
spot.
whole. There's
That's-
right.
Where babies have that soft spot.
It's the spot where we wear our sikas,
Oh, let's not get into all
right?
that.
Our little ponytails. It's the pot where it's the place where people wear their yarmulkes,
Okay.
right? It's where Muslims have their thing going on.
All right.
That's the spot. That's the spot, the sacred spot that people don't talk about it. But I'm here to shed some light on this magical spot. They say
Okay, keep
have to
going. Read the
protect.
verse. Raghunath. Read.
that they have to protect because this is where you leave your body. If you're,
A yogi can do that.
yeah,
Let's hear about it.
he raised his life air up to the hole in his skull, whereupon he lost all desire for existence.
Material existence.
Material existence. Gradually, he merged his life air with the totality of air, his body with the totality of earth, and the fire within his body with the totality of fire.
Okay, so the elements, these earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then of course mind, intelligence, and ego. These are material elements that are always moving. The nature of the material elements is they're constantly in shift, right? The nature of spirit, there's Purusha and Prakriti, right, Raghunath?
Yep.
I want you to tell me two differences between Prakriti, material energy, and Purusha, or spiritual energy. What are the two fundamental differences between these two?
They're,
Put a little
they're
hot
both-
seat for you.
Prakriti is eternal, but it's always in flux.
So, okay. So Prakriti, the energy itself is eternal, but the forms that it takes are constantly shifting. They never stop.
Like I'm sitting at a wooden table. This table was once earth.
That's right.
The earth was, or it was once a tree. The
Well,
tree
it's a combination of elements, right? Because like there's water in that table, there's air in that table, there's fire in that table. It's all in there.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's much water in this table
No,
anymore.
there is though.
Are you positive?
Yeah. If there was no water in that table, it would just like turn into dust, you know.
Maybe
There's water in there.
Maybe like glue, or right? There's some.
If you looked, if you burn that table, like,
Oh, yeah.
right, you would see a little water bubble out of it. True. Just like when you light a wooden matchstick.
You do that with dry wood. Maybe.
No. Oh, you're saying that it's so dry that maybe there's got to be a little in there in any case.
A little water. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. I didn't want to challenge.
Okay. No, challenge my sermon. Did you ever see that? Challenge my sermon? There used to be a television
Let's keep on track today, please.
Okay, all right. There used to be a television show called Challenge My Sermon. The devotees are on it. It was a good one. Any case, yeah. So, well, I'm asking you. I got you on the hot seat, Bhagavatam. So the one difference between matter and spirit, or prakriti and purusha, is that prakriti is constantly shifting in flux, whereas purusha or spirit is
observing, eternal.
Oh, okay.
Unchangeable.
Unchanging. Yeah, let's say unchanging, right? And then the other difference. It's a big one. Mara knows it. She's over there like, I know it. Raghunath, are you going to say anything?
I'm thinking.
Are you triggered by my asking?
No, I'm going deep within my mind, and I'm finding a chimpanzee banging two cymbals together.
Okay. It's a little early for you. But you know this. What's the difference between something that's a block of matter? We were even talking about it earlier on the show.
Consciousness.
There you go.
Consciousness. Thank
Right.
you.
One is aware. One experiences. One has feelings. Right. It's conscious. It's aware. Whereas, and so that would be purusha, or spiritual energy. The nature of spiritual energy is that it's conscious. The nature of material energy, it's insentient. Right. It has no consciousness.
Yes.
So what's happening now is this spark of conscious energy, the spark of spiritual energy, which is Mars Prithu, his soul. As a yogi, he's capable of now dismantling the material encagement that he's situated in, and he's returning those elements of breathing to once again mix into the totality of material energy. So there's the water, there's the earth, there's the fire. All of these different aspects of his body they're just merging with the greater universe.
I don't think
and now we're getting to the subtle elements. Those were the gross material elements, right? The Mahabhutas, the five earth, water, fire.
More with some gross stuff here.
No, now it gets more subtle.
16. In this way, according to different positions of the various parts of the body, Prithu Maharaj merged the wholes of his senses with the sky. His bodily liquids, such as blood and various secretions, with the totality of water. And he merged earth with water, then water with fire, then fire with air, and air with sky, and so on.
Yeah, he's reversing. Earlier in Bhagavatam, Brahma describes to Narada how one of those elements develops from the next to the next to the next, and they all manifest. And that's how the universe is created.
He's taking this in reverse, right?
He's reversing it, exactly. He's turning it around.
He amalgamated his mind with the senses, and the senses with the sense objects, according to the respective positions. And he also amalgamated the material ego with the total material energy, the Mahatattva.
Wow.
Text 18. Prithu Maharaj then offered the total designation of the living entity unto the supreme controller of illusory energy. Being released from all the designations by which the living entity became entrapped, he became free by knowledge and renunciation, and by the spiritual force of his bhakti. In this way, being situated in his original constitutional position of Krishna consciousness, he gave up his body as a prabhu, or controller of the senses.
Amazing.
The queen, the wife of Prithu Maharaj, whose name was Arci, followed her husband into the forest.
Well done, Raghunath.
Thank you. I held my tongue.
I know.
Yeah.
Followed her husband into the forest. Now this is going to be a Maha trigger coming up right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's.
By the way, you saying that triggered me.
I know. Well, this is something we're about to read about, something from this ancient Vedic culture that certainly in modern times became horribly abused and has been made illegal in India. But at the same time, there's something so noble about it that it just blows my mind.
I know.
But at the same time, it's
There's something that we would think, what are you, crazy?
Yeah.
Since she was a queen, her body was very delicate, Trigger. And she did not deserve to live in a forest, Trigger. She voluntarily touched her lotus feet to the ground, Trigger.
Well, everything's a trigger now.
Every time you talk about walking barefoot, I get triggered.
Okay.
I've had some trauma around that. Mara, what's going on, Mara? Are you raising your hand?
No, someone walked into the kitchen, so I was waving to him. Say good morning.
Okay. Please don't distract.
That triggered him.
That triggered me. Your distractions. Although
Okay,
she was not accustomed to such difficulties, right? She was a queen. We even say that. We even say something like, "You're such a princess."
Yeah. Yeah, she was a princess, right? Yeah.
She's a princess. You're such a princess. Since Arci was such a queen, Queen Arci followed her husband in the regulative principles of living in the forest like great sages. She lay down on the ground, ate only fruits and flowers
And
leaves. And because she was not fit for these activities, she became frail and thin.
Trigger.
Yet because of the pleasure she derived in serving her husband, she did not feel any difficulties.
Okay, this is praising her, right? It's saying like, look at this. It's saying like, even though she could have been living a very pampered life and continued that way, she was a sage. She was a sage, right? And she was capable of going out there and living that life. And she did it voluntarily. And that's really important here, is that it was voluntary, right?
Yes.
And her husband was a very noble person, and she felt joy and value in her life in showing him respect and serving him. You know, he was serving her too. You know,
put your finger on the trigger, because you're going to get nailed by this next one.
Now the next one is going to be more triggering. Yeah.
When Queen Arci saw her husband, who had been so merciful to her and the earth, no longer showed symptoms of life, she lamented for a little while.
Interesting.
And then built a fiery pyre on top of a hill and placed her body of her husband on it. Well, that's not a trigger yet. Okay.
Well, we're almost there. But interesting, it is interesting where it said she saw that her husband was now dead, right?
Yeah.
Her husband, who had been so merciful to her and to the earth. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
And that he was no longer showing symptoms of life. And then she lamented for a little while. Interesting, right?
Yeah, saying it's okay to lament. You're lamenting a little.
I mean, Bhagavad Gita starts right there where like Arjuna kind of gets like a bit of a reprimand for lamenting.
Yeah.
About people that
the wise lament neither for the living nor the dead.
Now here in Bhagavad Gita.
Didn't you ever hear that verse and be like, we can't lament for the dead? What kind of religion is this? You bunch of robots?
But you might lament for a little while, you know, and that's it's interesting. In other words, I read this and I'm saying that the wisdom of this tradition is there. We understand that he's not dead, right? His life is continuing on, even though his body is lying here and he's separated from it now. That's wisdom. That's truth. We should understand that. When we understand that, it improves our life and improves the lives of the people around us. There's a lot of very positive things that stem from that, right? From that understanding. But at the same time, it's not being so rigid and demanding that it's saying, go ahead, lament a little while. That's okay. That's natural. Yeah, cry a little, you know, let that go. And then let's plug right back in and you know,
get on with it.
And get on with it. Yeah. So she lamented for a little while, and then she got busy, you know, taking care of what needed to be taken care of.
You know what? Whatever people say about Krishna consciousness, if they're going to say something bad, at least it gives us a framework of how to deal with these tragedies of life, which like death,
healthy ones,
and healthy. Otherwise, when you have like random tragedies, it's like, how do you make heads or tails of it? You just spin around. You start to hate the universe, hate God. Why am I here? Why would I ever want to bring children into this world? Right?
Right.
People go there as if pain and tragedy and suffering is a new thing that's happening in the last 10 years. No. You think this world's screwed up? I got news for you. People have been doing screwy things forever. They've been doing real horrible things forever. Open up a history book.
Okay. It's a tough world. This is a tough world.
It's a tough world.
It's not really our home.
And we're living in a bubble of peace right now with all the things that's going on. It's like a bubble of peace.
We're a bubble of peace
in the material world.
Well, God is instructing our hearts through that pain, right? That's what we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So understand, this isn't our home. The pain that we're experiencing is a way of kind of like opening up our heart to the greater truth that we're meant to understand. Let's get focused on it.
I was in Italy with you guys, and there was one day I just walked by you and Mara eating dinner together, and I was thinking, look at these two, total illusion. Just everything's peaceful. Oh, enjoying some fine pasta. Oh, some, hing bread or some whatever you were eating, just laughing, joking. I was like, they're in so much Maya, these two. They don't understand that the boulder of death, the anvil of death could drop on their head at any moment.
But if it did drop on us right then, we would have been perfectly okay with it. That's what he doesn't get, right, Mara?
That's right.
Mara's like, beep.
We're in the association of Vaishnavas, chanting, absorbing our minds and hearts in the divine, or the root of our existence.
You ever see how a bird eats, Kastuba? You ever watch a bird feeder? Those birds, they take that seed in their mouth and then they look to the left, look to the right, look to the right again. Then they take a bite. Then they look to the left, look to the right, look to the left again. Then they take another bite. That's how a bird eats. That's how every animal eats.
Why are you saying that Mara and I should be eating like that?
All I'm saying is you're in a bubble of peace. You don't understand the temporality of existence.
Okay.
Get real.
Okay, Raghunath. Thank you.
You ever have someone tell you that? Get real.
Raghunath, if you or anyone else told me that, I would view it as a reflection of your or their own state of relationship with themselves or yourself, rather than a statement about my value as a person. And I would cease to react to it.
You've been reading lots of memes by Dr. Thema, it seems.
No, that was actually, that one wasn't from Dr. Thema. That one was.
Who is this Dr. Thema? Mara, look up Dr. Thema. We've been quoting Dr. Thema all day.
All right, Rogan, let's stay with this verse. It's a Maha triggering section, but there's such a beautiful truth here. And actually, definitely, someone could take, because what she's about to do. Anyway, why don't we read about what she's about to do?
Queen Arci saw that her husband, who had been so merciful to the earth, no longer showed symptoms
to her
of life.
and to the earth.
Yeah. She lamented for a little while and then built a fiery pyre on top of a hill and placed her body of her husband on it. After this, the queen executed the necessary funerary functions. Is that a word, Mara? Funerary. And offered oblations of water.
Okay. She's doing the rituals.
Right. What's an oblation? What does that mean?
An offering, right?
An offering, okay. After bathing in the river, she offered her obeisances to various demigods. I didn't say it. She did. She offered obeisances to various demigods situated in the sky in the different planetary systems. She then circumambulated the fire and, while thinking of the lotus feet of her husband, she entered the flames. Right? Okay. To a lot of people, that sounds crazy. To me, I think it's like very romantic.
Not only romantic, courageous.
Like, you're dead. I don't want to live. My beloved is dead. I'm out of here.
It's romantic in that sense. But there's a lot here, and one, let us say, first of all, she's seeing her husband as her guru, right?
Yeah.
She's like, wherever you go, I want to go and serve you, like that. That's her mentality, right? And so you've left, now I will leave as well. Now, imagine the strength of the faith someone has to have to do that, to see a big burning fire and walk right into it. That's powerful. It means, to me, what that indicates is her jnana, right? Her knowledge, her understanding, the depth of her understanding that I'm not this body, that I'm eternal, that I'm spirit, was so strong that she was able to put her money where her mouth was and do that. That is like, to me, I bow down to Arci. I say, I wish I had the depth of knowledge and understanding that you have. To me, in that sense, it's a glorious thing. Now, all that being said, right, we got to go back. We got to say that certainly that this is a tradition that got abused, right? That got totally misapplied.
It got misapplied, but also the British exacerbated it. If they couldn't understand it, they just called everybody heathens. That was a real thing too.
But I think the point is that women were forced to do this by like the local villagers and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah, uneducated people.
Yeah, a horrible misapplication of it.
Yeah.
Right.
The real question is, Mara, if I was burning and you saw me as your teacher, would you enter fire? That is the real question. And you don't have to say no or yes now, although you're shaking your head no.
You don't have to say no or yes. Right.
I just want you to think about this. Like, he's given me so much. What can I do? Except how can I live now?
I will follow him. So Prabhupada writes in the commentary, the entrance of a chaste wife into the flames of the pyre of her dead husband is known as saha gamana, which means dying with the husband. This system of sahagamana had been practiced in the Vedic civilization from time immemorial. Even after the British period in India, this practice was rigidly observed, but soon it degraded to the point that even when the wife was not strong enough to enter the fire of her dead husband, the relatives would force her to enter. It's horrible.
That's horrible. That's pretty horrible.
Thus, this practice had to be stopped. But even today, there's still some solitary cases where a wife will voluntarily enter the fire and die with her husband. Even after 1940, we personally knew of a chaste wife who died in this way. Gita Priya, would you be willing to do that? Are you listening?
Yeah, I want to see. I think Gita Priya would do it.
Would you enter the fire, my funeral pyre? Huh?
She's like,
she's not answering. She's not answering. She's smiling and she's not answering. I'll take that as a no.
Worship a little deity of Kaustubha. Yeah. Do I have to enter that fire? I'll enter your fire, Prabhu, if you want me to.
Would you enter my fire, Raghunath?
Yeah, I would.
Are you sure about that?
Mara, would you enter my fire?
Would you enter my fire? This is the question.
It's like, well, I don't even know that well.
So in any case, it's something. It's a practice that obviously
she doesn't even flinch. She doesn't show. Right. She doesn't say yes or no.
That's called wisdom, Raghunath. She's like, either answer is not serving any purpose here. So she's practicing silence. It's Mona Vrata, and we're meant to learn from it. You're meant to learn from it, Raghunath.
Well, it triggered me.
Okay, but let me just say, it's something that like Prabhupada here saying it had to be stopped, right? He's saying that this aspect of our tradition had to be stopped.
Yeah.
Right. So he's recognizing that he's ready to kind of like adjust to the time and circumstances. He's ready to step away from part of the tradition that's not translating well and it has no. At the same time, there's something within that can still appreciate it. That there's something glorious and beautiful about it.
Sure.
But it can't be forced, and so there you go. I think it's a mature way to look at it.
It is. I like it.
Okay. So now she's gone on the flames.
23. After observing this brave act performed by the chaste wife Arci, the wife of the great king Prithu, many thousands of wives of the demigods, along with their husbands, offered prayers to the queen, for they were very, very much satisfied.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. At that time, the demigods were situated on the top of Mandara Hill, and all their wives began to shower flowers on the funeral pyre and began to talk amongst themselves as follows. So these are the demigods talking. The wives of the demigods said, "All glories to Queen Arci. We could see this queen of the great king Prithu, the emperor of all the kings of the world, has served her husband with mind, speech, and body, exactly as the goddess of fortune serves the supreme personality of Godhead, Yogic or Vishnu." The wives of the demigods continued, "Just see how this chaste lady Arci, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upward, as far as we can see. In the material world, every human being has a short span of life. Isn't it amazing? It's actually short.
Very short.
We're thinking it's very long. But those who are engaged in bhakti go back home, back to Godhead, for they are actually on the path of liberation. For such persons, there is nothing which is not available. Any person who engages himself within this material world in performing activities that necessitate great struggle, and who, after obtaining a human form of life, which is a chance to attain liberation from miseries, undertakes the difficult task of fruitive activities, must be considered to be cheated and envious of his own self. Let's read that again.
Okay, so this is these are people that are situated on higher planets who are actually kind of reaping the benefits of their own good works from the past. So I think it's partially self-reflective, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never thought of it like that. Yeah. Any person any person who engages himself within this material world in performing activities that necessitate great struggle.
I'm working hard to try to enjoy the material world.
Yeah. And who, after obtaining this human form of life, right? Because
You got this special opportunity.
It's the gateway. It's the revolving door. You don't just go forward. You can also stay in that, what do you call those traffic circles?
Revolving door?
Stay in that traffic circle and go back the way you came, right?
Yeah, you could.
It's a chance to attain liberation from miseries, right? This human life. But they undertake the difficult task of fruitive activities. They must be considered to be cheated or envious of their own self. It's like you're either getting cheated by your foolish intelligence, or you're just, you got some issues with yourself. You got some issues.
Here, I believe the word envious here is Prabhupada's using it in a more kind of antiquated way, which means like hostile. Okay, so I've got this human body. What a rare opportunity. I mean, just mathematically, just statistically.
There's a lot of living entities out there.
It's
Mara, trivia question. How many living entities are there?
How many species, you mean?
How many species of life, Mara?
8.
It's a Vedic thing. This isn't a biology thing. This is a Vedic answer.
8.4 million.
Ooh, pretty good.
8,400,000. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And even amongst that, I'm sure there's certain species where there are way more of that species than humans. So even if it was like all even, your chance would be 1 out of 8,400,000 to take a human birth, right? Even if it was all even. So, and now you got this rare opportunity to use this as a yogi, right? To transcend this cycle of birth and death and suffering that we've been in for we don't know how long. And if rather than take that up, right, rather than use that opportunity, you just waste it away because you've been convinced that there's something better to do in life, you've been cheated, right? You got tricked.
We have a rare opportunity to act against instinct. Right? There's a human instinct, or we say survival of the fittest. We have this opportunity to do what's higher than survival, right? Suppose a car is about to hit you or about to hit us.
Okay.
Right. So I jump out of the way right. And Kostuba didn't jump out of the way. That makes me the top of the pack right now.
What kind of like thinking?
Listen to me. This is like survival of the fittest.
Is that what the first thing you would think is like, I'm on the top of the podcast now that Kostuba's dead?
No, my point was that is a human instinct to stay alive. But higher than that would be if I tackle you, knock you out of the way, but I take the hit by the car.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't seem like it's not survival of the fittest. It's something higher. I'm sacrificing myself for your benefit. So it's how do we get talking about this, man?
Would this unique opportunity to be human?
Oh yeah, we have this unique opportunity to be higher than what we've been programmed to be.
Right. And so it's saying here that if it's such a rare this is what the wives of the devas are saying up in the heavenly planets. They're looking down and they're saying, this person was both of them, they were successes in life, right? They took up spiritual life with full enthusiasm. If you don't, you kind of get cheated in this world. You think something's more valuable than that, right? And you start to pursue it. Okay, text 29.
The great sage Maitreya continued speaking, my dear Vidura, when the wives of the denizens of heaven were thus talking amongst themselves, Queen Arci reached the planet which her husband Maharaj Prithu, the topmost self-realized soul, had attained.
Okay.
The greatest of all devotees, Maharaj Prithu, is very powerful, and his character was liberal, magnificent, and magnanimous. Thus, I have described him to you as far as possible.
Okay.
Any person who describes the great characteristics of King Prithu with faith.
Hold it. Slow down. What do we got going here, Raghunath?
We have the Pal Shruti.
That's right.
Pal Shruti.
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 Yeah, the fruit of hearing, the benefit of hearing.
The benefit of hearing this, you're going to get a little benediction right now.
So we've been hearing about Prithu Maharaj for months now, right?
Yes.
Chapters going way back. Do you remember? It was a long time ago that we were hearing about Prithu and the horse getting stolen by Indra and all that.
Been a long and winding road.
A long time ago that we were hearing about how he was born, how he was churned from the limbs of King Vena. It was like, I don't know, was that like January, February, something?
This might be an appropriate time on show 800 to start a whole new scene in the Bhagavatam.
That's what's going to happen. So, well, we're winding up this scene in any case.
Yeah.
So
one hears,
we've all been hearing. So this is what you get.
Any person who describes the great characteristics of King Prithu with faith and determination, whether he reads or hears of them himself or helps others hear them, check. I'm doing good today. I've got this going for me today. Is certain to attain the very planet which Maharaj Prithu attained. In other words, such a person also returns home to the Vaikuntha planets, back to Godhead.
Okay,
X32.
that's pretty good.
We got that going for us this morning. If one hears of the characteristics of Prithu Maharaj and is a Brahmana, he becomes perfectly qualified with Brahminical powers. If he is a Kshatriya, he becomes a king of the world. If he is a Vaishya, he becomes a master of other Vaishyas or many animals. If he is a Sudra, he becomes the topmost devotee. All right.
Interesting.
That's the best benediction.
It is, actually.
It does not matter whether one is a man or a woman.
Take
it to the soul. Take it to the soul.
That's right. Take it to the soul. That's gotcha.
Right. Sometimes there's distinctions between men and women, but it doesn't matter. Not here. It doesn't matter. Anyone who, with great respect, hears this narration of Maharaj Prithu will become the parent of many children, if without children, and will become. That's assuming you want children.
True.
No!
Stop. Is it too late to stop the chapter?
Stop the chapter. And will become the richest if without money. Also, one who hears.
So you get material benefits. Just know what's going to happen. We're building up to the climax here, and it's saying, even by hearing this, you get material benefits. But then, what do you think is going to happen at the end, Raghunath? It's going to hit you with the ultimate spiritual benefit.
The ultimate spiritual benefit. Yeah. If you have no money, you're going to get money.
If you got no children, you get children.
I like that.
Okay.
Also, one who hears this narration 3 times will become very reputable if he is not recognized in society. That's another thing. People want to be recognized.
These are all the material benefits.
And he will become a great scholar if he is illiterate.
Okay.
In other words, hearing the narrations of Maharaj Prithu is so auspicious that it drives away all bad luck.
How about that?
By hearing the narration of Prithu, one can become great, increase his duration of life, gain promotion to the heavenly planets, and counteract the contaminations of the age of Kali. In addition, one can promote the cause of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Therefore, from all sides, it is advisable for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narrations of the life and the character of Maharaj Prithu.
From all sides, right? So even if you are still concerned with
your material world,
the material world, it's going to help you to hear this, meditate on it.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people out there listening on Zoom today. They're like, I like this stuff, but I like the material world. That's okay. It's okay.
Although you've been cheated or you're hostile to yourself.
Although you've blooped and you're a folk member now.
Fringy at best.
All right. Okay. If a king who is desirous of attaining victory and ruling power chants the narration of Prithu Maharaj 3 times before going forth on his chariot, all subordinate kings will automatically render all kinds of taxes unto him, as they render them unto Prithu Maharaj simply upon his order.
Well, what if all the kings do that?
Interesting.
Okay.
Trying to stump Sukadev goes, Swami.
Well, no, it's actually a good thing because if all the kings did it, well, then
They wouldn't be fighting any longer.
there you go.
And they'd voluntarily give up some wealth. A pure devotee who is executing the different processes of bhakti may be situated in the transcendental position, being completely absorbed in Krishna consciousness. But even while he was discharging bhakti, while discharging devotional service, must hear, read, and induce others to hear about the character of the life of Prithu Maharaj. You have to induce others.
So in other words, even if you are liberated, right, you still want to hear this stuff. It's so satisfying. Okay.
Oh man, we got 1 minute. We got to read. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, as far as possible, spoken as far, I have, my dear Vidura, I have as far as possible spoken the narrations of Prithu Maharaj, which enriches one's bhakti. Whoever takes advantage of these benefits also goes back home, back to Godhead, like Maharaj Prithu.
There you go.
Whoever, with great reverence and adoration, regularly reads, chants, and describes the history of Maharaj Prithu's activities will certainly increase unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience.
Interesting, right? Because like even that's the climax. That was the final one, and even the one previous said like you go back home, back to God. In other words, like you exit the virtual reality of this world and enter into spiritual reality. Even that's not given as like the highest thing. The highest thing is unflinching faith and attraction to Krishna, whether you're in this world or any other world, right? Like that's the ambition. That's the goal. That's the focus of the bhakti yogi.
Nescience. Nescience means no knowledge, right?
Ignorance.
No. To know. Science means to know. So nescience is to not know.
Thank you, word nerd.
Professor Word Nerd. Maharaj, we have any takeaways, please?
Take it to
I'm
the
a little
soul.
offended, Mara. You wouldn't walk into my pyre. And you didn't even...
Well, would you walk into hers?
No, it's not supposed to happen
It's
that way.
okay then.
I'm her teacher. I'm not walking into my
Does
student's
she not
pyre.
teach you as well, Raghunath? Oh, gotcha.
Takeaways.
Yes.
Truth is truth.
Good one right there. That's a t-shirt.
Truth is truth. Love is
Yeah.
love. Hate is hate. I like that one too. I'm really.
Raghu is Raghu.
Heal so
Okay.
you can hear and understand better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Understand others' behavior so you don't react.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Look deeper.
Learn to relate to people on the spiritual level.
Keep it on the spiritual level, Raghu.
Keep it spiritual. Raghunath.
You
Take
just
it to the soul.
Take it
that's
to
one
the-
with Raghunath.
Raghunath.
It'll be out this fall
Raghunath 2022.
on Equal Vision Records.
Lament for a little while, then get busy.
There you go.
Get busy, y'all.
Understanding truth gives us a framework for tragedy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
The anvil of death could drop at any moment.
Got
Using
that,
my
Mary? Don't
Bugs
enjoy
Bunny
a meal.
references.
Yeah. Roadrunner.
We're in a bubble of peace. Get real.
You two
Okay.
are. Get real. Stop just sucking your spaghetti down, people.
I'm sorry, you don't eat? Or you look back and forth whenever you eat?
Yes, I do.
Like
I'm
a-
always,
like a-
I'm
like
always
a
ready
frightened
for
animal.
death.
Okay.
We have a rare and unique opportunity.
We sure do. That's the human birth.
Mm.
The human
Pain-
birth. Don't wait. Don't human birth. Don't waste it. That's like
Oh.
that's like a commercial.
What was that one? A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Right?
Yeah, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. That's interesting. We both referenced that.
Oh.
This is a tough world, but it's not our true home.
Okay.
Who said that? I didn't say that.
No, it's
It was on the
Yeah.
chat board.
don't worry. If I get hit by a car, you won't have to worry about the things I say on the show anymore.
And would you enter the fire?
Would you enter the fire? Gita Priya still hasn't answered the question. Gita Priya, we're going to try one more time. Would you enter the fire?
These ladies.
She said no. She said no.
These ladies.
I tell you,
There's a new breed of woman.
they're standing up for themselves nowadays.
No, I'm not entering your fire. I already clean up after you. I'm not entering your fire on top of that. I'll enter the fire of your socks if you burn them.
All right.